Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's live tour at Waverly Farm. I'm your host, Michaela Mitchell, and work on behalf of dairy farmers in the Southeast, connecting you to dairy's delicious nutrition. Today, our team is at Waverly Farm in Clear Brook, Virginia, and you're in for such a treat because the dairy farmer and tour guide, Regan Jackson, is going to give you the behind the scenes look at how cows are cared for, fed, and milked at her family farm. Regan is a senior at Clarke County High School and a fourth generation dairy farmer. Joining Regan today is special guest and recipe creator Kristy Bernardo of The Wicked Noodle. Kristy is a five-time cookbook author and cooking instructor. After the tour, Kristy will dish on how to use delicious Mayola milk to delight eaters of all ages. Now, before we join the team at the farm, I want to be sure that you know how to get your questions through to us on this live tour. If you're joining on Zoom, use the Q&A feature. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, put your questions in the chat or comments section. We will answer as many as we can, so don't be shy. We want to hear from you. And with that, I'll turn it over to the farm. Regan, take it away.
Hi, my name is Regan Jackson. I'm 17 years old and I live in Virginia here. And this is my farm, Waverly Farm.
Hi, I'm Kristy Bernardo, and I am a cookbook author. I am the founder of the food blog, The Wicked Noodle, and I use dairy products in all of my cooking, and I am really excited to learn all about dairy farming today.
Okay, so these are our baby calves. They are the future of our farm. They are Jerseys, so at our farm we have all Jerseys, which are the brown cows. They're the smallest breed at mature, like their mature body weight. They weigh about 1,000 pounds for their full adult cow.
Yes. And that's the smallest breed.
And that's the smallest, yes. The Holsteins, they weigh about 1,400 pounds.
Okay.
So they're about 400 pounds smaller. All our calves get fed grain and water, so they have free range to grain and water all the time. They get fed milk about 2 times. They get fed milk 2 times a day.
I just gave this little one some milk. She likes it a lot.
Yes. They have no top teeth, so when she sucks my fingers, it doesn't hurt at all. A mature cow has about 32 teeth, so they're all on the bottom, and then she'll have some back molars back there, but
so
is that
just for this breed that they don't ever have top teeth, or do cows in general never get top teeth?
All cows in general do not have top teeth.
I never knew that. That is so interesting. Wow. So, so what is their feed made of?
So this is their sweet grain. So it has like molasses in it for it to taste good and yummy. It smells really good. It's very molassesy, and it just has some nutrients in them to help them, and it also helps them for when we do wean the calves and wean them in about 2 to 3 months. They're already used to eating something that's not just milk. So it just kind of preps them to go off of milk.
So I would imagine what you feed the calves is much different from what you feed the adult cows, correct?
Yes. The adults get silage, so it's like a total mixed ration. They have like corn ear and stuff like that.
Okay. How many calves will a cow have each year? Like what's like the average?
She has about 1 calf a year.
1 a year. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. And then how old are these calves?
So this one's about 1 week old. So she's still a baby.
1 week.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And then, so I noticed that some of the other calves, like in different rows, they seem to get a little bit bigger, or is that my imagination?
No,
are they organized like that?
They get better, yes.
Okay.
So we have them in rows, and so the newest newborn will be born down the line, and so they're all in order of age.
Okay. And I noticed these tags too. So this one, is this its name, Atlas Gold Dust?
Yes.
Which is an adorable name, by the way.
So all our calves get named. So each calf we have, they get named with a special name. It helps us know which family they're in and which calf it is, and it helps us build a better connection with them. So when we're in the barn or in the barnyard, we can say, oh, hey, there's Loki or something like that.
Oh.
So we get a good connection with our calves. They're all very special to us.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yes, and they all have a personality of their own.
I've noticed that. They really do. You
Yes.
especially.
They're very spunky.
Oh, yeah. I noticed some are very quiet and sweeter. They're all
Yes.
sweet, but you
Yes.
know, some are pretty.
Some are very
spunky
outgoing, and some
Yeah.
rather just be laying down and chilling.
Yeah. And so, what's the benefit to keeping them all separated?
So we keep them in calf hutches until they get older, and we put them in a group pen with them. It helps prevent the spread of diseases. And also, when we give them milk, we need to make sure that they're getting enough milk to keep them healthy. So by having them in a group pen, they all kind of combine together and drink out of the same thing, and it just helps less spread the amount of diseases, and helps us know how much milk each calf is getting to help
That
maintain.
makes sense. You definitely don't want the strong personalities to drink all the milk.
Yes.
Well, it
and
sounds like
we
you're
can-
basically just making sure that by the time they're ready to live their life free out in the pasture, that they're healthy and happy.
Yes, our calves, we take extra care towards them. Since they're tiny, their immune systems aren't as built up, so we try to make sure that they are extra healthy and cared for. And when one does get sick, we treat it with some medicine, and we give it electrolytes, which is like Gatorade to us, and it helps them get their energy back up and get some more nutrients into it.
So does the farm have your own veterinarian?
Yes, so every farm has their own veterinarian that we consult with, and so whenever we have a problem, he'll come out to the farm. He usually already knows the herd pretty well, and he can tell us what we need to do or what's wrong with her and stuff like that.
Yay. Well, they are so adorable. They really are.
And all our calves get vaccinated just as babies do when they're young.
Hey, Regan, we have a question from Michelle Allgood, and she would like to know, at what age did you start working on the farm, and what was that job?
So I got my first cow when I was 3. I've always helped my grandma feed the calves, especially. They were always my favorite when I was young. But I got my first cow when I was 3, so I started spending more time at the farm and just kind of working with my cow and getting her tame and halter broke. And I just, mostly when I was young, I just liked playing around with the animals and getting to know them.
That's awesome. And then we have a question from Tim Downing, and he would like to know, how many calves does a cow have at one time?
So a cow can have twins just as people do. There's no specific like
odds.
Yeah,
okay.
odds, I guess that would go with it. It's all hereditary, so some family may be known for having twins and some may not, but they can have twins just as humans do.
Have you ever had triplets? Does that
Yes,
ever happen?
have.
You have?
Yes. Yes, it's rare, just as in humans, but it can happen.
Oh. Well, I want you to call me when that happens, because I will be here. Okay.
Okay.
Well, this looks so great.
So, what's this one over here?
So over here, this is our teenagers group. So when the calves are ready to be weaned off of milk, they come over to this group. And this is when we introduce them to group pens. So the first time they ever are interacting with people, we try to take extra care of this group as well, because they haven't been around other animals. They've been in their little dorm room over there, in their own special pen. So this is their group pens. We have fans for them so that they can stay cool. They are not on milk in here anymore. They are only on like hay and water and some grain. So right here, this is our silage that we feed our cows. So it has like corn in it. It has some like byproducts because we try to not throw away some products. So it has like cottonseed hulls. So this like seed of the cotton's in here, and so all the byproducts and corn is in here, and this is what the cows eat. And then that's the grain we feed our calves. As you saw over there.
This is the same as what was there?
That is
Okay.
the same grain.
Okay.
Yes, and they that's their favorite. It smells like molasses.
Wow, it really does.
Yeah, it's sweet.
I would eat that.
I know.
Right? I would.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, but I would.
Yes. It has
yeah, it really does smell good.
vitamins.
Yeah.
It does.
That's great. So how old are these teenagers?
They're about 3 months old to maybe some 4 months old, and we're just trying to get them used to being around other animals before we take them out on their own in the pasture. This is just kind of a stage to help them get used to not being on any milk, and if we see any of them struggle, we can give them extra care.
Gotcha. And so how long is it until you consider a cow a fully grown adult? Like, how long does that process take?
So the cow, a fully grown cow, and she's milking is when she has one calf. So we don't really consider any of these cows until they have had one born calf.
Interesting. I absolutely did not know that. That's very interesting.
Yes.
And so is it typically a pretty easy process to get them all used to being together in the pen?
Yeah, they all do pretty well with it. They're kind of pretty shocked at first by not having their own special pen.
Right.
But they like the company of the others and everything like that.
Sure.
A mature cow eats about 100 pounds of feed a day. So they eat a lot.
100 pounds.
Yeah. And they drink about 50 gallons of water. So it's about a bathtub full amount of water.
Oh my gosh, that's
they drink
incredible.
A lot too.
Wow, that is incredible.
And another interesting fact is that we have a special hoof trimmer. So just as you would go and get a pedicure or your nails done, they have someone come over and trim their feet up and make sure that they don't have
pretty
any foot
fancy.
problems. They are. They get special care.
Well, they're all so sweet, and they're clearly loved. I love seeing that. It's just amazing. And then I heard something about like a magnet in their stomach. What is that about?
Yes. So cows are ruminants, so they have 4 compartments to their stomach. So we only have 1, and they have 4. So they can chew their cud. Have you ever heard that? Where a cow
I have
chews
heard
the
that.
cud? Yes. So they have a special stomach that allows them to do some special things where we cannot. So they have a magnet that goes into their reticulum compartment. And when a cow is graining out in the pasture, she might pick up a nail or something that might hurt her inside. So the magnet attracts that nail and pulls it towards it so that she does not get hurt at all. And it does not affect her at all. The magnet just sits in there and helps her if she eats something that nobody knew about or anything like that.
And so then it just stays in there.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't bother her at all like it would if she didn't have it. Well, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
That is truly fascinating. So, are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, actually there are. Thank you for asking. So one of the questions that's coming in from Erica, she would like to know how many cows are at Waverly Farm.
So we milk about 150 cows, and then we have about, I'd say 300 heifers. So we have about that amount of cows. It's kind of hard to keep a track. We have about 20 baby calves here. So it's a good amount of cows.
That is a good amount of cows. Yeah.
All right, and I know soon you'll be moving to the next stop, but we have an attendee that would like to know what Regan plans to do when she finishes high school.
So when I finish high school, I plan to, right now my top college is LSU, so I plan to go there, and I want to study food and nutritional sciences, and promote dairy products. So I want to be the advocator for agriculture and tell, the moms and the kids that, you need dairy products in your diet. It's very important. It has nutrients and vitamins and is important for bone growth. And you need your beefs and stuff like that. So that's what I want to do.
That's great. I love that.
Well, that is great. I think that you guys are getting ready to head to the next stop on the tour. So we will see you when you
Yes.
get there. All right,
All
great.
right. See you in a minute.
Yes, we will see you in a minute. And in the meantime, I am going to have a look at the Q&A and see what I can answer for you while they get set up at the next tour stop. So one of the questions we have from Carol is, how long can a cow live? And Carol, honestly, it depends. But what I can tell you is that cows can live a much longer time under a farmer's care than without. And that's one of the great things about all of the healthcare, you know, the regular veterinary visits, the vaccine checks, the pedicures and foot care that the cows get. So it's not unusual for a cow to be in the milking herd for upwards of 10 years. So again, you know, it depends on the farm, but they live a great, long, healthy life at their dairy farm. So I'm going to check that one off the list. And one of the other questions that is come in, it says, what happens if hooves get hurt? And I love that you bring this up because, you know, that can happen when they're walking on pavement or uneven surfaces. And so the dairy farms have a veterinarian that comes out for regular care. And of course, the family is also trained on doing some of those basic foot care tasks. But there's actually, you know, a day on the farm for hoof care where, you know, a team comes out and they work on the hooves for the calves to make sure that they're, you know, fit and ready for all of the cow's activities that she's going to undertake on the farm, which consists of a lot of, you know, lounging in the barn and walking back and forth to the parlor. But all right, well, it looks like Regan and Kristy have made it to the next tour stop. So I'm going to turn it back over to them.
Okay, so here we are, and this looks like a really interesting room. I love it. So it looks like this is the milk, what do you call it?
Yes, so this is the milking unit, and then this part right here is the inflation. It's the only part that touches the cow. So when the cow comes in, she stops, she gets some grain, and then we pre-dip, so that makes sure that no bacteria, everything like that gets killed, and that her teeth are nice and clean. And then we put the milking unit on. We wipe the teeth off with a towel, so we use one individual towel for all cows. We don't reuse anything like that. So then she gets milked, so they like being milked.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like it would hurt, but she is obviously really happy right now because she's just happily eating, and it doesn't look like she even notices.
Yes, they like being milked. Before they get milked, they all wait by the milking parlor. They're excited to come in here, get some grain, get milked. It's like a vacuuming feel to them. So when they are getting milked, it kind of like massages them, and they truly do like being milked.
And how do you organize it to know like which cows come in at what time? Or
so the cows are a creature of habit. So when one cow comes in, the next follows. If she's never been milked before, it's her first time being milked, it's kind of difficult to get her to follow along, but usually they just follow the leader and come in. We have a gate that opens up, so whichever first stall there is, they come in and they stop and they get themselves situated. And so, yeah, they're pretty easy. It's pretty easy to get them to follow along.
And so what they're eating in here is the same thing that they would eat out when you feed them in the field. It's the same. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Okay. I assumed, but you never know. So then it looks like the milk goes.
Yes, so
Comes
the
out,
milk travels
goes in here.
from the milk tube, and then it comes into this whey jar. So
And it feels warm.
yes, so the cow's milk is about 101.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the temperature of the actual cow. So the temperature of milk is the same temperature as the cow's body temperature.
Okay.
So it all comes in here, and then we can measure how much a cow milks. So they milk about, I'd say 60, 65 pounds of milk every day. They get milk 2 times every
Wait,
day,
they
too.
milk how much? How much milk do they produce every day?
So they milk about 60 pounds.
That's amazing. Wow,
Yes.
that is a lot of milk.
They are Jersey, so there's the smallest breed. They don't produce as much, but Jersey milk has higher fat to protein content. So to me, it tastes a little better. The more fat in the milk, it just tastes a little better.
I'm all about the fat, so I'm
Jersey
sure I
milk is
agree.
what you want in your ice cream. Jersey milk ice cream is the best.
Oh, yeah, that's going to have to happen, definitely. How long does it take them to milk?
So a cow, by the time you put the milking unit on, it takes about roughly 5 to 7 minutes to just.
Oh, so it's really fast.
So it's pretty fast.
Yeah. So it's like she's done milking and she's still in here eating.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
When she's done milking, they put a post nipple on just to make sure that the teats are still very sanitary and they don't get any infections or anything like that. So they're just letting the teat set, and then they go out, and then when they're done, they'll head to the silage. So after, they'll head to more feed and they'll eat more.
So I don't want to hog the whole conversation. I know our viewers probably have some questions, so ask away, please.
Yes, Patricia would like to know what happens if a cow gets an infection.
So when a cow gets an infection, we treat her with antibiotics. So when the antibiotics are in the cow system, we do not want that milk to go into the tank because people can be allergic to antibiotics. So you wouldn't want to drink that milk.
Right.
So when a cow gets sick, we make sure that her milk does not go into the system in case there is an infection. And then sometimes there is milk that gets into the tank and we didn't know that it had antibiotics in, we would then dump that milk. So it's very important to make sure that the sick cows do not have their milk go into the tank.
And I noticed that, like the milk that was in here when we walked in, that's already gone. So it looks like
yes.
it
so
goes
it travels
really
down,
fast.
and it goes through the tube, and then it goes through the milk line. So
Oh,
I'll show you
which
where
I guess
it ends
is our
up.
next section. So perfect.
So while you guys
So this is the bulk tank. So this is where the milk ends up when it comes out of the parlor. So after the cow is done, she lets down her milk. It travels through a long tube and goes through here. There's some different filters that the milk goes through just to make sure.
I see it here.
Yes.
So this is where it comes. Does it cool here first, or is this just a stop?
So it cools and stirs in the bulk tank. So the temperature of the milk is 101.5 degrees.
Right.
And then we need it to cool down for best management about below 40 degrees.
So that's where it cools.
Yes. So
And this
yes.
is just sort of where
this
it's filtering
is
it
the
through.
filters and yes.
And
yes.
how big is that tank?
It's a really big tank.
It is.
Holds about, I'd say, 4 milkings. So all our cows that get milked, they come in here. It gets picked up about every other day.
Okay.
The milk truck driver will come in. He'll do another antibiotic test to make sure that the milk is safe. And then he'll put it on the milk truck, and then he'll take it to a milk plant where they do more testings to make sure that the milk is all right. And there it gets pasteurized and processed. And all our milk, most of it goes into fluid milk. So our milk
it goes into
the fluid milk.
a fluid milk.
So
Okay.
instead of making cheese and yogurts and stuff like that, most of our milk's in your milk carton.
Right. That's the stuff I buy.
Yes.
I do. That's what I use, and I love it. What about questions? Anyone from the audience interested in this very interesting room?
Yes, actually, we have a question. They want to know where they can find your milk in stores.
So our milk goes to Maryland Virginia Cooperative. It's found in like Giant stores and I think in like Costco. So
Food Lion.
there's a yes, Food Lion.
Food Lion.
There's a wide variety of stores that I can
Yeah.
go into.
Yay. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. I just want to learn everything. It's so interesting, right? So, how, like, when you milk the cows, like, when do you start? Like, is it an all-day process, or does it only take a few hours and you're done?
Yes. So the life of a dairy farmer, very busy.
Yeah.
Whether it's out in the field with the crops or it's in the parlor milking the cows. We milk our cows every afternoon, and then we milk our cows early in the morning, so around 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. So, and then they finish. Well, do a herd check. We'll look out for babies to see if we have any baby calves, and so it's a long day process.
Yeah, it sounds like. Well, I met some of your farm hands, and I mean,
and another thing,
he said he gets up at like 12:30 in the morning to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you need to start early and make sure that all the milking units are set up and cleaned and ready to take on the day for another milking. So another thing about our farm is we are very environmentally friendly. So the milk that is in here, that helps cools the tank. It actually gets reused and goes out to like feed water troughs, and so we actually reuse our water and make sure that none of our water is being dumped.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
How long has your family owned this farm? How many years?
So I'm a fourth generation dairy.
So a lot of years. A lot of years.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot, way before my time.
But it must have been such a great place to grow up. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's exciting.
All right.
Okay, so now I guess we're going to go talk recipes.
That's right. And so while they are making their way out to the next stop on our tour, I do just want to take a moment and highlight that when milk leaves Waverly Farm, it goes to a nearby plant and it's usually on store shelves for you to enjoy at home or on the go in about 48 hours. And at the Dairy Alliance, we're huge fans of drinking ice cold milk. But we want you to keep in mind there's so much that you can do with dairy in the kitchen. Now, the kitchen is where Kristy Bernardo loves to be. Kristy used to run her own business as a personal chef before going full-time with her food blog at thewickednoodle.com. Her blog is where Kristy posts recipes a few times per week. Kristy has traveled as far as Morocco for her writing related to food, but for her, nothing beats gathering friends and family around the table for good food and conversation, which is why she's so proud of her first cookbook, Weeknight Cooking with Your Instant Pot. This cookbook is full of delicious recipes for your Instant Pot or pressure cooker. Another of Kristy's titles, Cooking from Frozen, is a go-to resource for when there is nothing defrosted for dinner. Kristy is going to share some tips and tricks with our audience today on cooking with Neola milk. Kristy and Regan, take it away.
Well, thank you. Gosh, that was a really nice introduction. I appreciate that very much. So first, like, tell me, do you like to cook at all?
Oh, I love cooking. I cook all the time.
What's your favorite thing to cook? Whatever you're in the mood for?
Yeah, it just depends on the night.
That's me too. I get that question and I can never answer it either. So, obviously from my introduction, it's pretty clear that I really love to cook. And what Michaela said about what I love most is the gathering of friends and family. And, for me, cooking is a means to an end. I want delicious food to feed to myself and my friends and my family. And for me, dairy products is such a huge part of that. I don't think there's a day that goes by, really, truly, that I'm not using dairy products in some way. So, for in the morning, I have heavy cream in my coffee. I put either heavy cream or whole milk in my scrambled eggs, in my egg bakes. I even add it to my smoothies sometimes. It adds a really nice creamy texture. And, milk is such a great ingredient because it adds protein and nutrients. And, the reason that I use it is because of the wonderful texture it gives. But the bonus is just that it's so good for you, right? So my smoothies just get that extra bump and I get the creamy texture. I use milk a lot this time of the year for things like soups. I put a lot of milk and heavy cream in my soups. I even put it in my chili, to be honest, because I like to take a little bit of that tomato bite away and turn it into a little bit creamier. I use it even, I'm big on like searing a steak in a pan and making a quick pan sauce. And if I have milk or heavy cream on hand, I just toss a little bit of that in, and it makes a delicious cream sauce and an easy weeknight dinner. And desserts, I can't even tell you. I even use chocolate milk. I actually just heat this up, and it's like a hot chocolate, like that. My kids used to do that for years when they were little.
I've never tried that before.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly really good.
Yeah,
you need to try it.
I have to try that soon.
If you have a hankering for something sweet, have a hot chocolate milk, and you get some good protein and nutrients at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, and other desserts too. Like I love making panna cotta. It's such a like upscale fancy dessert, but it's so simple to make. You just do heavy cream, sugar, and some gelatin, and you let it set. And then you just flip it over and it unmolds and it's beautiful and it's so good. That's one of my actual like secret weapons when I used to be a personal chef, or if I was serving at a dinner party. I would always make panna cotta because it was so easy, and milk is perfect for that. So anyway, so, and the other thing too is, there's a saying that you can always taste the love that a chef puts into their food, right? And it was really such a pleasure today to see the love that you and your family gives to your cows. They're clearly so happy, and it was so great to see the process. And so, for me, the love that you give your cows can only make a better tasting milk, right?
Yes.
And so, from a chef's perspective, I really like the idea that I put a lot of love into my food, but then if you put a lot of love into your milk, it's like double love in my food, right? So I really like that idea. So any questions from anyone?
Yes, actually, there are some questions. We have a question about the types of vitamins and minerals that the cows take. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
The vitamins that they give the cows?
Yes, the vitamins and minerals for the cow's food.
So in our cow's feed, we make sure that they have like your corn. We give some limestone, give like a little bit of iron, copper, and then you have like your potassium, your calcium, magnesium. So there's a bunch of minerals and vitamins that our cow's diet consists of. So it's a lot.
And I imagine it's pretty consistent. Like exactly how much you're giving each cow to
so
keep them
we
healthy.
actually have a nutritionist that we hire for our farm, and that's their job. They come in and they test that for Jersey breeds, you need this, this, and this. So it's pretty planned out, and our cows have a nice, healthy diet.
Great. Anybody else?
Yes, we have another question, and this viewer would like to know, does the veterinarian know how many calves a cow is going to have before she delivers?
Yes, so when we do a herd check to see which cows are pregnant, which ones are not, he will come in and he can actually tell us if the cow is having twins, if she's pregnant, and that just kind of lets us know when we need to start taking care of her to get her ready to give her baby. So yes, he helps us out a lot by telling us when a cow will have a calf, about how long when she will. So he gets us a bunch of information about our cows and their babies.
Do you have to do anything different, like for a cow when they're pregnant, or do you have to separate them or anything like that?
So when a cow first gets pregnant, she stays in the herd and still gets milked. But when it gets closer times, we actually have a dry cow field, so where she's not giving milk and she's just focusing on herself, having a little vacation out in the pasture. She gets fed grain instead of like your silage that your milk cows are getting. So yeah, they get extra special care there.
Nice.
That sounds really good. Now, Janice would like to know, how do you clean the milk machines, lines, and bulk tank? She said it looked like a big job.
Yes.
It does look like a big job.
So we run water through it. So after every time the bulk tank is emptied, it actually gets washed. So about every other day, which is whenever the milk truck comes and picks up the milk, the bulk tank gets cleaned out. So high water temperatures to help kill that bacteria, lots of water, and a couple of like the outside, like where knobs and stuff, we make sure that those are sanitized, and we have some special like cleaning chemicals to help us with that.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's great. And one more question from Taylor. Do Jerseys and Holsteins produce the same taste of milk?
So since Jerseys are the smallest breed, they have special milk. So they have a higher fat to protein content in their milk, which makes their milk taste just a little bit more flavorful than a Holstein would. So while a Holstein may give more milk, the Jerseys, which produce less milk, they actually have a better taste of milk that would be better for your ice creams and goodies like that.
And is that labeled or anything in the store? Like, how would I know if I was buying milk from a Jersey cow?
So when it goes to the milk plant, most of our milk just gets put in with some of their Holstein farms.
Gotcha.
But there are some companies, I think, that have a special brand with just Jersey milk.
Gotcha. But it sounds like regardless, it helps your milk taste a lot better.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
April would like to know, what is your favorite part of dairy farming?
I love animals, so I love spending time with my cows. I do some cow shows, so when I get them ready, they get and halter broken, they get like tame, and I can take naps on them. I do that very frequently.
I love that.
So I get a lot of cow cuddles, and I just love my animals. All my personal cows that I own, they all have different personalities. I can tell which cow's mine by one of them. I can just call her name and she'll come running up to me. So yeah, I just have a special bond with my cows, so that's my favorite part.
Oh, I love that. I want to come for cow cuddles. I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it looks like now these are the adult cows out here, and this is where they are while they're all waiting to go.
Yeah,
into
so
the
these
milk
cows have not been milked yet, and they're getting ready to go into the milking parlor to get milked out.
And they are lined up.
They are ready. Like I said, they love getting milked.
That is crazy. I love that. Wow.
Well, ladies, this has been so interesting and enjoyable, but the time has come for us to wrap it up. Thank you, viewers, for your questions. We hope you enjoyed today's tour and cooking talk as much as we did. And I want to extend a huge thanks to Regan and her family for giving you this insider's look at their dairy farm today. The work they do is incredible, and I learned so much. And to Kristy, we can't wait to see the recipes you whip up. Thanks for sharing your cooking insights with our guests today. Now, don't forget that the Dairy Alliance is your resource for all things dairy. I encourage you to visit our website for the latest dairy research, recipes, and news. You can meet more of our incredible dairy farm families across the Southeast. So visit us at thedairyalliance.com and take advantage of the resources brought to you by the generosity of our hardworking dairy farm families. Thank you so much for joining us. We wish you a dairy good day.
Thank you.